Secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a rocky mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 420 in colorful Colorado. It is Sunday, July 11th, Monday, July 12th. For those of you across the pond and beyond, welcome to We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. I'm so glad you guys could join us this evening. If you're listening live right now, you're listening to us on Spreaker.com, as well as KPNL Radio, which you can find at kpnl-db.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iTunes, iHeartRadio, CastBox, Tumblr, YouTube, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, Deezer, Podcast Addict, as well as Podcast Chaser. So I have a treat for all my guys and gals out there this evening. Tonight we will be talking to and getting to know Mr. William Pattison. And as Eric Morse, author William Pattison, wrote the Camp Crystal Lake novel series for Berkeley Books, published in 1993 through 1994. These books include the novels Mother's Day, Jason's Curse, The Carnival, and Road Trip. The fifth Camp Crystal Lake novel, The Mask of Jason Voorhees, which he web-published for his fans. In 2014, he published The Traveler, A Conflict of Interest, which is a science fiction book, and then Psychotic State, the novel, horror splatter punk, through Linkville Press. And in 2018, he started his own publishing house, WCP Enterprises, publishing and reprinted Psychotic State, the novel, and The Traveler. He also has published two novels by Christopher Hyland, The Witch and the Prince, and The Path Never Taken, through WCP Enterprises. He is currently writing a 6-part anthology titled Symphony of Death. As Eric Morse, he was mentioned in the second printing of the book Camp Crystal Lake Memories by Peter Brake. Also, he worked as an executive consultant on an independent film adaptation of his novel Friday the 13th, Mother's Day. He worked as executive consultant and screenwriter on an independent horror anthology film titled The Horror Seasons. He also worked with screenwriter Matt Mosley on the script for the slasher film Sparrow. Currently, he works with co-host Christopher Hyland and Mary Madcox, aka Nurse Hatchton, the podcast Full Spectrum Horror. He also has his own podcast as well, known as An Awakening of Horror. He was also the executive consultant on the film in Derek Young's film Midnight Matinee. Psycho, he plays the role of a reporter at the beginning of the film. He is also credited as associated producer, contributing writer, and unit director on that film as well. He will be bringing back his reporter character in Derek Young's film Psychotic State, and he will also be playing a part in Derek Young's next film, Josie. Welcome, William, and thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight.
Gorin scares everybody. Yeah, that was I bet that was one of the longest introductions you ever read.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Sometimes it's like reading a book.
Yeah, it's kind of a novel, but, I've been busy since 1994. Keeping busy, trying to keep my name up in the horror genre, which is very hard. So anyways, this is, it's very exciting times for me right now, because my horror host show, William Pattison's Bloodbath Theater, is actually, next month is going to be its 5th anniversary and its 60th show.
Congratulations!
I do that show once a month. It's a double feature horror show. Zero budget. I do everything myself. But, it's fantastic because doing that show, it's reignited my love of classic horror films. And, because I have to go out and find these older films, and I have to do a little research on them and stuff, and rewatch them, which is also a thrill. Oh, I love it. And because of doing Bloodbath theater, I actually discovered, because I hadn't watched these films, the Spanish horror films, by Paul Nietzsche. And man, he's got a whole catalog of incredible. He has his own werewolf character that he does in all these different horror films and stuff, and he played the Mummy, and it's just all kinds of different stuff. People who are horror fans would remember him as the monk from the movie Horror Express, with Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Paul Nietzsche played that part. But oh man, and Nietzsche, the thing is that he based all of his makeup work, which was on the original Wolfman makeups. But anyways, yeah, so that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, and there really is nothing quite like old horror films. I mean, everything these days seems so predictable, and you just always see what's coming next. So I really love the old horror flicks. There's really nothing like them.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, the stuff just doesn't it's not the same nowadays at all. I just.
So how did you originally get into like the whole horror scene?
Oh, how did I? Oh, okay. Well, the thing was that my mother was a big horror fan.
Yeah, mine too. We were raised on scary movies.
Oh yeah. Well, my mother, she she actually went and saw the original Frankenstein, the Boris Karloff Frankenstein, when it originally came out.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing was that with her, she was absolutely fascinated by the monster. So the entire run that they did of Frankenstein in San Francisco, she went every night.
Oh, wow.
To see it. And she just, after that, she was hooked on horror. So, when I was a baby, she'd sit there and watch horror films and stuff, and I got into it. And, we watched the classic soap opera Dark Shadows. So that was a regular thing. I'd rush home after school to watch Dark Shadows with my mother. So that was our big thing. And then of course, we had a really good horror host in the Bay Area, Bob Wilkins, and he did creature features for Channel 2, and he did it for a bunch of different stations, in Sacramento and stuff like that. So, and then we had Chiller Diller Theater, and then for a short time we had The Ghoul, which is a horror host from the East, and he did his show there too. So I had a lot of horror growing up. A lot of these classic horror films, a lot of people nowadays, they they talk down of the black and white horror films and with the, cheap monsters and that. But that was the best that they could do in those days. And what they did is they enhanced those films with character and tension, and that it was a lot of work to do, a horror film when you had a cheesy monster or that, or you really couldn't show the ghosts or that, or your big old ghost was something, a sheet that was floating across the screen or that.
Right.
So, and what's funny is the last several years, since 2015, the filmmakers now are starting to rediscover, doing more character development and doing tension. They're starting to relearn the old methods, and a lot of horror films are not as gory anymore, and that. So it's like a rejuvenation of horror, because unfortunately, a lot of people get angry at me for saying this, but the slasher era lasted too long, and the fans got bored and they got desensitized to gore. And so once people start, what ended up happening is experimental filmmakers started doing POV films, point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, with that, you had to have the stuff in the background. And so if you have your monster in the background, you can't do a hell of a lot of gore, in a POV film. So you have to build tension in that, and you have to do a lot more work. People don't realize how hard it is to do a POV film. And so, you had that, you had, films like Saw, where they really added more to plot, because if you notice in the Saw series, that is like a huge puzzle. That series was really good that way. And so we're learning this, and the thing was that you're going to love this, Tessa. In 2012, I predicted that there was going to be these changes in horror, and that the way we were going to know that horror was going in the right direction would be that we would have horror films actually winning Academy Awards. And I was absolutely right. Because we had, Get Out, and we had The Shape of Water win the Academy Award. And not just win the Academy Award, Shape of Water won 13 Academy Awards. And
wow.
Get Out won 11. And it was like, boom!
That's amazing.
And the last time 2 horror films had won an Academy Award was 1953.
Oh my goodness.
So that says a lot about, what's happening in horror. And then, of course, you had, James Wan and his work with Insidious and The Conjuring and that. And, a lot of people, bitch about him. Oh, well, those are PG-13 films, PG-13 horror isn't good. Give me a break.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about them. The newest one that came out, I really want to see it, but I haven't been able to go yet. It's so hard to get away from work and everything these days.
Yeah, it's really good. I know about the case. I know about the demon murder case, also known as the Devil in Philadelphia case. Yeah, that one was a very, very interesting case with the Warrens. And James Wan's company, they did a fairly good job. They fictionalized certain aspects, but it was still good. And it surprised me. But I've absolutely loved the Conjuring series. Of course, Andrea Perron is quick to mention that the installment about her family, they captured the feel of the house, but they didn't capture the experience that they had. And she said that the ghost in the house was really pissed off because James Wan has a habit of doing certain female ghosts and having them cast by men. Having men cast as the ghosts.
Wow.
So the ghost in The Conjuring was actually a guy dressed up as a woman.
Oh my goodness. Kind of takes you back to the whole back in the day when women weren't allowed to act, so the men would play the characters. That's odd that they do that.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Well, I mean, you look at the hag in Insidious. That was a guy too.
That's interesting. Yeah, and Andrea, the girl, she grew up in that house. I was watching a YouTube video and she was speaking with the team that was investigating there. And I don't know about you, but to me, she seems somewhat psychic or connected to that house still today.
Oh, yeah, she is very much so. Though she's kind of given up on the paranormal. She's now more into ufology.
That's intriguing. Yeah, there's been a lot of activity recently. I actually got some really good videos this last week of some UFOs in our area.
Nice.
Yeah, it seems like it's picking up quite a bit.
I only can say that I'm a feckless dabbler in the paranormal and ufology. I'm a person who enjoys it, who studies the cases, but I don't get involved. Well, the fact is, why would I live in a haunted house? So it's
right.
So it's like I've got it all the time. It's like God, and I think, I honestly say that my area is ghost central because we have some weird ass shit happen here.
Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Oh, yeah. Our house around the corner was haunted. And it was like every Halloween, this ghost that hated kids. Literally hated kids. It was the wife of this guy that lived there, and they were kind of a weird couple, and she absolutely hated kids. And when she was alive, she'd sit there and squirt the neighborhood kids when they went by trick-or-treating. And they died years ago, but it's like every year, kids are getting squirted at her
And she'd
house.
do this like with a hose or water gun, or what would she use?
Yeah, a hose.
Wow.
Yeah, so a hose would come and squirt people. And it wasn't fakery or anything, because I remember I got squirted by the damn thing. And
you're like, what the hell?
Yeah, and when I used to come home from work when I was working with my document research company. I'd come home, sometimes of the year it would get dark really early, and I'd have to walk home down our main street. It was about a mile and a half of a walk home, and on a few occasions I saw shadow people, literal shadow people walking down the street. And a couple of times I saw ones that walked past me. I thought they were like regular people, and I'm sitting there watching, and they don't have any detail. They're just black outlines. And the one time I walked past this one, I kept my eyes down because I, don't want to deal with it. But anyways, I looked back, and this thing was looking over its shoulder at me and with red eyes.
Oh, that's not cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and we had a situation, if you talk to the San Mateo Police Department, oh no, that didn't really happen, but I know it happened because it was in the news and shit. We had a situation where this certain area of town, which was a place where homeless people camped out, the homeless people were getting slaughtered. And they didn't do anything until this girl, who her boyfriend left her over at this bar that was right next to the shopping mall, and she went to walk home, and you have to go over this overpass and stuff. They found her ripped apart in this. And anyways, I heard something about this thing being some kind of a giant wolf in town, and it's like, whoa.
Like a dire wolf?
Werewolf.
Wow.
Because there was also another report about some guy freaking out in a nearby hotel there, and when the cops went to investigate, the walls were covered in claw marks, the bed was ripped apart, and the door was ripped off its hinges in this place. We also have a famous ghost of a gunfighter. Gunfighter that went by the name of Black Bart.
Yeah, I think I've heard of him.
Well, I've heard of the pirate. I'd never heard of the actual gunfighter. But the thing is that there's this building that is, it used to be an old hotel. And now of course it's a computer office area, but it used to be a crawfish restaurant and stuff. It goes through a lot of changes. Let's put it that way. That people usually last in that building about 2 or 3 years.
Till they can't take it anymore, and then they pass it on to someone else. They're like, yeah, we're good. We're going to move.
Yeah. I mean, I do remember I went there when it was a restaurant. It was a family-style restaurant. And actually went into the main dining area. It was very neat. It was, very old-fashioned looking and stuff. They still had the front desk from the hotel there with the dinger and everything. And I recall the chandelier in the dining room started to move.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Freaky.
Yeah, you're like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah. And, we have another, we have our St. Matthew's church, and supposedly, well, this is an old story, but supposedly a priest got killed. He got blown away in the confessional there.
Oh, no.
And it was on Christmas Eve. And the thing is that the story goes that every Christmas Eve, the confessional bleeds.
That is so creepy. And a lot of people don't think of churches as haunted areas, but I've known of some crazy stuff going on in churches. That's interesting.
Shit, there's so many lists of haunted churches, it's crazy. Shit, I mean, I've even heard of demonically taken over churches and stuff.
Are these churches still active? Because I know of places where churches used to be, and then they move on. And for example, there was a house that we were looking at that was for sale, and it had this Victorian style about it. And we walked through it, and as soon as I went in, I didn't feel good to my stomach. And then as I went up the stairs, I got a stabbing pain in my head. And walking around, it just got worse and worse and worse. And I was just like, no way in hell are we buying this house. And then I found out later it used to be a church. And it's like, I don't know, I feel like when churches are abandoned and then made into a home or something else, that's when a lot of freaky shit goes in there and kind of takes over. Because it's no longer...
the devil loves it when you desanctify a church.
Yeah.
That is playtime for them. They love that. Because they want to twist it and that. So, definitely don't want to no. And also mortuaries. You really don't want to buy a mortuary or turn a mortuary into a church, or not a church, a school for little kids, like our stupid town did. Oh my fucking God. It's like, yeah, they turned a mortuary into a church. Or not church, a school. A little kids preschool.
Oh no.
And I've heard stories about it like crazy. The ones asking about the people with the owies and stuff. Because you can imagine a mortuary, you got all that energy in there. That is a battery. And this mortuary had been there since the start of the town.
So it had been there for a while.
Yeah. And you could imagine, I mean, I used to have to walk past that place when I go to a friend's house, and that place just freaked the shit out of me. It got the spider senses going. Very much so. And being around the paranormal as much as I've had all my life, you get the spider senses and you can see traces of spirits and shit.
Yeah, or you just sense it. Like sometimes driving by a place, or like you said, walking by a place, I'm like, that place is definitely haunted. There's something going on in there.
Oh yeah.
I feel bad for those kids, though. Could you imagine being so young and going to school there?
And seeing dead people?
Yeah. I heard a
Yeah.
terrible story from the mortuary guy here when I was dealing with my dad's death, and his ashes actually got lost in the mail for a while. He finally showed up, but he said that there was a funeral there, or somebody was taking care of their loved one or whatnot, and they accidentally left their kid there. And when they found him the next day, when they realized they didn't have him, which I guess they must have been mourning pretty hardcore to leave their poor kid behind, he was down where they stored the bodies, and I guess he had a lot of experiences. He saw a lot of things, and I could imagine he is probably still traumatized to this day.
Oh yeah. Oh, I got oh man, I got a great story for you in regard to ashes. People are gonna love this one. my my sister Linda, her husband Herb died, right? And he got cremated. And the thing is that my sister was waiting for his urn because the one that she wanted was very specific and stuff. So supposedly when the urn came, she went to the mortuary to pick up the urn, and the manager of the mortuary handed the box that had Uncle Herb's ashes in it, and it had Herb on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
HERB. So anyways, the guy goes and walks away. The manager takes my sister into the office, and, they're writing out the bill and stuff to get the urn and that. And the assistant comes in with a pot of tea
Oh no.
for him. And he said, "Oh, I had a hard time with this tea you gave me, boss. It was very, very hard to seep." And the manager just looked at him with total shock. And he goes, "What tea are you talking about?" He said, "The herb tea that you gave me."
Oh no. No.
And he goes, "You idiot." He goes, "That wasn't herb tea, that was herb."
He's like, I thought it tasted a bit nutty.
Well,
no.
anyways, yeah, my sister freaked.
I mean, could you
Yeah,
imagine?
supposedly
Oh my
this guy
gosh.
it was his first day.
And his last.
Yeah.
Oh. Is your sister okay?
Yeah, what's funny is a year later, I actually got a message from Herb.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was freaky. My sister and I were going to see George Romero's Survival of the Dead in San Francisco. And the thing is, after the movie, I got a message on my cell phone, and it was in my message center. And anyway, so I didn't recognize the number, but I played the message, and it said, "Hey guys, it's Herb." Clearly, because Herb had a unique, he had kind of a Kentucky accent, Hey guys, it's Herb.
Herb tea. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and I'm just going, holy fuck. And, we were driving home, and I said, oh my God, I got a message from Herb. And my sister's gone, what the hell are you talking about? I said, Herb, Uncle Herb. Uncle Herb's dead. He couldn't be. I said, yeah, I know. So anyways, we got home. I played it for her 5 times. And for some reason, she couldn't hear it. So I ended up having to go in and bring up the volume on it. And finally, she could hear it. And she could hear the, the accent and everything. And I put it on YouTube for people to hear.
That's
and
awesome.
It's like half the people can hear it, half the people don't hear the voice. They say, "Oh yeah, somebody's saying something," but it doesn't sound like what you're saying. It does. Believe me, it's clearly saying, "Hi guys, it's Herb."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. We actually we do snow accounts during the winter, and this last winter we were woken up by a phone call, and it came from the lady that used to be the manager of our accounts and such, but she ended up passing away pretty abruptly from cancer, and she actually called and woke us up that morning, and Vern is like, what the fuck? Like, this can't be possible. This lady's been gone for almost a year now, and I just got a phone call from her. And I was like, well, try calling the number back, and he did, and it was disconnected and unavailable. So it was just very strange. She's like, all right, get up.
I tried calling the Herb number back, and no number. It actually said that there was no number.
This number is unavailable or no longer in service.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and here's my most famous experience with a dead person. You're gonna love this. Well, actually, it's one of 2 experiences. I had one about a year and a half ago that was just exceptionally weird. But anyways, the day after my mom died, I couldn't sleep, so I turned on the Sci-Fi Channel, and it was playing Kolchak the Night Stalker. And my mother absolutely loved Kolchak. But anyways, the thing is that in my room behind my television, I collected a whole bunch of Goosebumps figures.
Mm-hmm.
From the R.L. Stine series.
Yes.
Yeah, they made 6 of these, and I've got all 6. Well, anyways, the thing is that you press a button, and you literally have to physically press this pretty good, and a light goes off, and it makes a woo sound. So I've got all my things in a row, and they start going off one after the other, all the way down the row. How do you like that one?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that was an awesome one. Yeah, my business partner Shane said, "Oh no, that has to be a malfunction on those things." And I'm going, "Excuse me? You have to press the button for them to go off." They never, here it is years later, and they've never gone off since. Not once. Now, the second one, you're going to love this, because it was just absolutely weird. It happened. I mean, once again, I was sitting watching television, just normally. Now, the thing is, where the Goosebumps things are displayed, I have a whole bunch of figurines and stuff. I have the Star Trek figures from Star Trek V. I've got a whole bunch of Willow figures, Power Rangers. I've got them on this thing that's a multi-level thing. And on the top level, I've got the dragon from Dragonheart sitting up on top, a figure with the wings out. Well, I'm sitting there, watching television, and all of a sudden this thing comes flying off the top of this display, goes down, knocks the Goosebumps figures off, knocks my Captain Kirk on the floor, and flies down, then lifts and flies over my television and hits me in the face.
What the hell?
Literally, I'm going, what the fuck? Because, it had to go straight down, hit the Goosebumps figures. The wings had to hit the Captain Kirk, knock it off. He also knocked off my Swamp Thing, Constantine, and my life-size Blade from Puppet Master figure. Knocked all those off. Oh, and my Jessica Jones figure. But anyways, go straight down, then have to change direction and go right over the TV to hit me. And then hit me right in the face, which is would have to be straight on. That I'm going, well, how the hell can I explain this? God.
Definitely sounds paranormal. Do you think that was your mom too, or you think that was something else?
I have no idea. I don't think it was... Evil things cannot come in my room. Because I have charms in my room to protect me. Because when I was younger, I had issues in my room, and there was an incident that scared the crap out of me. See, when I was young, there used to be a shadow man that would stand in the doorway of my room every night.
Oh, wow.
Imagine that. Every night. And then the thing is that one night, Shadow Man wasn't there, but a girl was standing there. A little girl, well, kind of around teenage size, little, not full size, but anyways. I'm sitting there looking, and this thing charges at me. I throw my blankets over my face, and it tries to pull my blankets off of me.
Oh, hell no.
And I'm sitting there, and I'm screaming, and all of a sudden, it lets go, and it lets out this horrible scream, and I jump out of bed, it's gone, and I run downstairs to my mom. And, yeah, that scared the crap out of me. Yeah, so now I have sacred water from Lourdes, and I have pieces of a holy relic in my room.
And it
as
seems to
well as
work.
I've carved protective symbols on my doorway. So nothing can come in here that's evil.
Well, that's good. And I think it's funny because all of us that have had paranormal experiences as a kid have used the shield of blankets or sheets or whatever, and it does really seem to work. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, it's faith.
Mm-hmm.
You have faith in the protection. Actually, some cases it doesn't work though. It depends on how powerful this thing is.
Yeah, I've seen those scary movies where they do that, and I'm like, yeah, that's definitely going to work, and then all of a sudden it starts creeping up from the bottom of the bed under the blankets. I'm like,
Yeah, well, I mean, remember Andrea Perron's situation where she was in the bed, she grabbed a hold the blanket to put it over her head, and the thing pulled the blankets all off of the bed. Literally just pulled them off. Scared the crap out of her. I remember hearing about that one.
Yeah, that would totally freak me out. For sure. So did that girl ever come back, or was that the only time you ever saw her?
Only time. I actually saw a demon in my house.
What did it look like?
Very traditional demon, about 8 feet tall.
Oh, snap.
Horns, cloven hooves, grayish skin, piggish nose, pointed ears. It had a necklace around its neck that was fingers, and it was wearing a bloody loincloth and a belt with spikes on it.
Ew.
And black, long, talon-like fingers. I actually used that image for my character Robert Diablo. And the teeth were like knives. They were pointed. You remember Karen Black in Trilogy of Terror there at the end when she smiles and the teeth have changed?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Ew.
It smiled at me. And the thing was that I knew the demon was around because, unfortunately, my sister conjured it. Her and her friend Stan.
What the hell? How'd they do that?
My sister was into the black arts. And the thing was her cat died. And she wanted to resurrect her cat.
Never a good idea.
Unfortunately, she let loose a fury in the house. Why I call it a fury is because it was a small one. It was a low-level demon. It was short.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At least the one that she conjured was short. This other thing was tall. And actually, the second time I saw this thing, it looked like an E.T. It changed its form. But anyways, this thing, she conjured it, and it jumped through 2 levels of our house and ended up in my mother's bedroom. And my mother was sleeping. She woke up and she saw this thing sitting on the end of her bed. And she freaked and she kicked it. And it hit the door. And she went off on my sister for that, and my sister soon stopped doing the black arts because it never works out too good. Well, the thing is that what convinced her was that our cousin Vern, my mother's cousin Vern, died horribly. And the thing was that years before, he and a bunch of people had conjured a demon, and the demon told them, everyone in the group, that they were going to die. He took great pleasure in telling them that they were all going to die horribly. And Cousin Vern died horribly. He died of severe lung cancer. The thing, it ate up his lungs. And unfortunately, Vern was a very physical person. He was a ballet dancer with, the ballet. And so he died. And that convinced my sister not to mess around. Though she did mess around with the Ouija board for a while. And that ended up getting her a haunted object. Because she started dealing with a ghost named Delust. And the thing is that Delust really liked my sister. He would do things for her.
Oh, wow.
My sister's friend Alice got her pissed off at her, and my sister basically told Delust that Alice needed a spanking. And Alice called her a day later and said that something happened to her, that she ended up with blisters all over her backside.
Oh my goodness.
And the thing is that Delust inhabited a statue. And amusingly enough, the same statue is in the Myrtles, the Myrtles in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, remember the haunted mirror?
Yes.
There's a musketeer statue next to the mirror in Myrtles. That is Delust. My sister has the exact same sculpture. And the thing is, it got damaged. We had a fire, and it survived the fire, but the people who moved all the furniture out and stuff and salvaged some of the stuff, they broke his base. But we've still got him in our formal dining room. And people who go in there say that the eyes follow them.
Creepy.
And they see his expression change. I've seen it on a number of occasions myself. I have actually a good relationship with Delust. He doesn't cause any problems around here. Now, in fact, he works more as a protector in our house.
Well, that's good. On that note, I hate to interrupt, but we do have to go to our first musical break.
No problem.
Alrighty. So on this break, it's going to be about 14 minutes long. The artist that we're listening to first is Nonye Toria. She's from Africa, and she's going to be singing Gaki as well as Gabon. And then we have King Cinnamon, who is also from Africa. He's from Nigeria. He'll be singing Fantastic. And then we have Britt Casey singing Mr. Cellman. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this musical break.
Promises I know, but I wanna get it out even more. It's the sweetest thing in the world to know that our heart beats as one, yeah. And even if we fight, we'll be making up all night. 'Cause waiting God don't put together, no man can put us under, asunder, yeah.
We swap on speak.
Like the water bam bam. King Cinnamon. Oh shit, baddest. Take your bam bam anywhere you day. Know your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's ball, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Take your bam bam anywhere you day. Know your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's let's go, it's a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Gucci brother, baby, gather something. Come on closer, baby, gather 19. I know you better, but I am the king. Your backside bigger than Bombay. Baby girl, broncotum. I like the way you want your broncotum. Baby girl, broncotum. I like the way you want your broncotum. Jamaica, Ghana, shout out to the ladies in Asia, Nigeria, South Africa. Say me love you. Please me, baby. Yeah. Turn up from you. Take your bum bum anywhere you day. Play your bum bum if it's a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Take your bum bum anywhere you day. Play your bum bum if it's a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Give me love. Me want you, me love you. Give me love. Oh, give me love. Hey, please me, baby. Oh. Yeah, turn up from you. Yeah, take your bum bum anywhere you day. Play your bum bum it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Shake your bam bam anywhere you day. Play your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic.
my baby, but it's poor reception, cause she ain't picking up. Hello? Hello? Listen, Mr. Operator, I've been up all day and I'm trying to dial my baby's number. See, it only rings straight to the machine. 617. Now I know something must be wrong with this cell phone, cause my baby knows she wouldn't hang up on me. So tell me what's going on. Now see, most of the time phone only ring twice. How you doing, boo? Cool, how's your date? Nice. Now she ain't picking up, plus a text her. Put it to your plane, she's the one to get next to. It's not just the way, it's all day with affection. I'm hoping this detection is poor reception. Straight to the machine, mean it's like clicking my call, get connected quick. I'm saying, hey, Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see there's something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see there's something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Why she ain't picking up, yo? I see the phone rings quite a few times before any answer. And I know she's home, well at least till 3. And I know she's home. Now I don't mean to be any bother operator, but could you just check and connect this call for me? Cause I know she's home. Now see, the first time I call, I'm like, maybe she working. And the second time I call, I'm like, little bit hurting. But the third time I call, I'm like, going berserk. And now half a day gone, can't get her on the horn. Usually in the morning, maybe it's something wrong. I mean, she wouldn't take this long to call back. See, we tight like that, she's supposed to be mine. So could you please try it one more time? Hey, Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see there's something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see there's something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Why she ain't picking up, yo? For some reason, it's like she ain't home. Just wanna get my baby on the phone. Now I know that she's there all alone. So can you please hook up my cellular phone? Hey, Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see there's something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see there's something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Why she ain't picking up, yo? Why she ain't picking up, yo?
Welcome back, and thanks so much for joining us tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. Tonight we are joined by Mr. William Pattison. Welcome back, and thanks so much for hanging out with us and sharing your stories so far. It's been awesome.
Oh, no problem. I kind of went a little bit nuts on the paranormal last segment, but when you live in a haunted house, you get a lot of stories.
Yeah, and I love hearing other people's experiences, but I know that you were wanting to talk about how you got into being a horror host as well as your podcasting.
Oh, yeah, my podcasting. The thing is that years ago, I had my first interview on a podcast. And it was this podcast called Chad and Hank. And the thing is that I went on there, first podcast, I enjoyed it. And from the experience, I decided that I wanted to do my own podcast. Well, what ended up happening was that Hank, the guy from the one podcast, he had issues with his co-host, and he asked if he could be involved with my podcast that I was planning. He actually found me the hosting site, Blog Talk Radio, and I started the Eric Morris Show after my pen name for the Camp Crystal Lake novels. And, you know, we'd open the show with me doing an imitation of Crazy Ralph. You're all doomed. Welcome to the Eric Morse Show with Eric Morse and the super producer Hank. And so we were doing a weekly show, and all of a sudden, you know, after 6 months, what happened is all of a sudden Hank went nuts on me because I invited on the show a person that I'd worked on a anthology film with, Greg Russell Titterington. And Hank all of a sudden, for no good reason, went after Greg and started spouting anti-gay sentiments at him.
Ridiculous.
And jumped off the show, and then came back in and started insulting me, insulting Greg, and just walked off the show. I kept that particular show going for probably about another 3 weeks, and what ended up happening is I decided that I wanted to totally change the show, because, you know, doing a show every week was driving nuts. I, you know, trying to find guests and all that. So I came up with a great idea that I would bring in other people, and each person would do a show once a month. And, you know, we would do like 4 shows. And I would have a show, another person would have a show, and another person would have a show. And, you know, I would help because I would have to do the technical work, because my friends didn't know how to do the you know, how to work the controls. So anyways, yeah, I mean, you know, I started out, I got a friend of mine, Wayne Goulden, and another friend of mine, Christopher Highland, who is now known as the horror sex symbol and horror Jesus. And we started a show called the Eric Morris Project, and that went on for several years. I've actually been doing podcasts for 13 years now.
Wow.
Actually, no, it's 16 years now, believe it or not. 16 years. And yeah, you know, time messes me up, so I didn't realize it. 16 years, yeah. But anyways, yeah, so we did the Eric Morris Project for years. I did a segment, a show that I did by myself, and it was called Retro Radio Theater. And I would host it I would do myself, and then the other characters on the show would be done by me, you know, voices and stuff. So I had scripts and all this and doing things, and it was hosted by a character called Astroatomic Space Dog, and his co-host was a cat named Balcazar, Emperor of Evil, Child of Destruction.
Yes.
And I had a gay character on there who was an immortal named Fabulous Fred the Helldresser. And he was a minion to Balcazar, Emperor of Evil, Child of Destruction. And then, of course, we had Balcazar's brother, who was mentally damaged because he got stuck in the dryer and got spin dried.
That actually happened to a cat of mine. She was never the same after.
Yeah, same happened to me, because the cat was named after the character was named after our cat Tommy. So the character's name was simply Tommy, and yeah, so I had all these characters I had to do, like Atomic Space Dog didn't really talk. He just goes, "Orf, orf." And Balcazar had a translator, so he would sit there, "Oh, hello, humans. It is I, Balcazar, Emperor of Evil, Child of Destruction." And then, of course, you had Fabulous Fred. "Oh, hi, boss. How you doing?" And simply Tommy. "Who's Tommy?" "Oh, hi, Tommy." "No, Tommy, you're Tommy." "I am? That's cool." But anyways, yeah, we used to do these old radio plays and stuff, and it was a fun little thing until about 3 years into doing it, Blog Talk Radio changed their thing for free hosts. And so we had to make changes to the Eric Morris Project. My friend Wayne, he did a show called Horror Chat with Mr. Highland, and then we also got in another friend of mine, Derek Young, who he did a show called Bloodbath Radio. And then we also had Greg Russell Pitterington. He came on and he did a show. I can't even remember the name of his show. That I kind of got a little bit of a blockage when it comes to Greg because it was very annoying. He was he has Asperger's and he was very demanding on me. I had to do everything for his show. Actually, it turned out I had to do a lot of stuff for the other shows, so I'd end up actually playing co-host as well on Horror Chat and Bloodbath Radio as well. And so, I was the lead man. I'd have to come up with the guests, if we had guests, or the subject matters, and I'd have to, do the control panel and stuff, and make sure that the shows came out, and co-host the shows. So honestly, I didn't gain anything from when I was working on it for a weekly show. Except that, I did do, Retro Radio Theater, and after Retro Radio Theater, I ended up doing a show called Horror Update, where what I would do is I'd play trailers for films and give horror news and stuff. And I still had Balcazar, I still had Tommy, and I still had Fred on that show. But
yeah, and you call it his show, but it seems like it was completely yours because you're doing everything for that. That's insane.
Yeah. But it was cool. And so, later on what happened is that Blog Talk ended up cutting down the amount of time that you could have for free podcasts. They cut it down to half an hour.
Wow. It's really hard to cover stuff in that amount of time.
Yeah, and so what ended up happening is Derek and I convinced the other ones, okay, well, we're going to change the show again. And what we're going to do is everyone is going to be responsible for the show. It's going to cost us around $50 a month so that we can have 2-hour shows. If you guys want shows, you're going to have to help pay on the show. And so we changed the show to the Wolfpack Podcast because our group was called the Wolfpack. We came up with calling ourselves the Wolfpack after we went to the very first Days of the Dead, and we had to basically work together to survive that convention when we went there. That was the first time we ever did a convention. And unfortunately, I didn't have anything to sell at the convention. So what I did is I made flyers and just did autographs for the Wolfpack podcast. And so we called ourselves the Wolfpack, and we did the Wolfpack podcast for a while. But the thing is that a situation happened, and I started getting in conflict with the people in horror. Because, people do not realize how nasty it can be in the horror community. I mean, at the time when I was starting the Wolfpack podcast, everyone was at war in horror. You had people backstabbing each other, and people sabotage productions and all this. It was a nightmare. And I went to war with these people, literally. I would go on the podcast, and I would denounce these people, telling them by name and saying, oh, yeah, this person went and did this to this production and ruined this guy's reputation for nothing. And that actually started because this one actress that we met at Days of the Dead, after Days of the Dead, she went and lied about me. This lady was hanging out at our table all the time there. And she was playing up to me, and we ended up having a kissing match and stuff. And what ended up happening is I didn't know she had a boyfriend, so she lied about me, saying that I was stalking her at the convention. And so I ended up having to defend myself on internet radio and stuff, and on Facebook. And I showed pictures from the convention of her hanging out at our convention table. Because this woman, her table was over in the independent film section, and we were in the vendor's room. So it was a totally different part of the convention. And she'd come and hang out for hours at our table. So anyway, she started some shit. turns out that she had done the same thing a half dozen times, and she, of course, called me a liar, said that I was stalking her and all this, and she did that same thing to a bunch of other guys. And what ended up happening is she made a mistake, and she pulled her routine on the best friend of Adolfo Goya, the organizer of Days of the Dead, his best friend, and started trying to ruin his reputation. And what ended up happening is Adolfo got her banned from every convention.
Good. You don't need that kind of drama. Jeez, oh, Pete.
Oh, yeah. I mean, with me during this time, around 2013, I had trouble with the Soska sisters. They're actually the last remnants of that group I was talking about that was ruining people's reputations and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing is, I and the Wolf Pack, we used to be friends of theirs. And what happened is they did their second film, American Mary, right? And what happened was that Mr. Hyland asked me to have them on the show for my birthday show. Believe it or not, August the 13th. It was going to be on my birthday. And I went to Jen Soska and asked her about it. And she goes, "Oh, well, we love you and Mr. Hyland. We absolutely do love you, but we can't do your show. We're going to be doing conventions in August, and we're going to be so busy that we're not going to be doing podcasts that whole month. We're going to be just exhausted." Well, anyways, August comes up, and Jen and Sylvia Soska inform everybody on Facebook, "Oh, well, we're going to be doing 3 podcasts on August 12th, 13th, and 14th. We're going to be doing 9 hours straight of podcasts. And we're doing this because these people are our friends and will do anything for our friends." And I'm like, you fucking bitches, you can imagine. So I got on there, and I just am a new asshole in regards to that. I said, "Excuse me? 2 months ago, we asked you to be on our August the 13th show, and you said no. You said you weren't doing podcasts entire August, and now you're doing podcast on my father's birthday, my birthday, and the day after my birthday. What the hell is this?" I got crap about them. People, nutcases who are, they started having almost a cult around them. They started attacking me and saying, "Oh, well, you're just pissed off because they didn't wish you a happy birthday." So anyways, I waited for a year and just kept saying, "Oh, well, if you're going to, you need to apologize to me, and you need to apologize to Mr. Hyland." They refused, so I blocked them on Facebook. I just blocked them. I said, "Okay, I'm cutting ties with you, right?" Moment I cut ties, all of a sudden this actress, Jessica Cameron, who I had on my list for doing interviews, she contacts me and she goes, "Oh, well, I can't understand this. This has to be a mistake. You didn't just, block Jen and Sylvia Soska." Well, anyways, I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Well, I'm not going to do an interview with you." And I go, "Oh, okay, fine." And, okay, well, that's fine. You're fired because you're giving me attitude over something that's not your business. And you're being very unprofessional. And I said, "I don't deal with very unprofessional people." And I cut her off. 2 years later, we were going to be in the same convention, Twisted Terror Con. And she got in with the organizer of Twisted Terror Con. And on the Christmas, well, actually not Christmas, the New Year day, 2 months before the convention, the organizer of Twisted Terror Con, Aaron Dodge, tells me that he is kicking me out of the convention. Well, the thing is that I had paid for my table. And we had a contract that said that that they couldn't do that kind of stuff, but they did. And they said, "Oh, well, we have some people." I found out it was just Jessica Cameron, who said that you're a danger to the public and to other artists. So I nearly sued Aaron Dodge. I took him to the Better Business Bureau. And luckily, I ended up getting on, getting in on EpicCon. I'd spend an entire year setting up for a convention. I'd spent hundreds of dollars on merchandise and stuff. So, them throwing me out of that convention would have cost me a shitload of money. So I went to EpicCon, had a fantastic time. But anyways, yeah, this started a fight. And anyways, it started causing problems with the podcast. And then a situation happened that caused me to lose one of the one of my co-hosts, Wayne Goulden. And this happened with Kane Hodder, the guy that plays Jason Voorhees. Wayne had set up to have Kane Hodder do an interview with us. And what happened is that Kane's associate, Author Mike, who is the person that sets up his gigs for Kane, about a week before we're supposed to have the interview, he tells us, "Oh no, Kane can't do your show." And it's like, okay, fine. We'll reschedule. Okay, well, we reschedule. Author Mike comes back to us 2 days before we're supposed to have Kane on. "No, Kane can't do the show." Okay, let's reschedule again. Third time. 1 day before the show, Author Mike tells us, "Oh yeah, well, Kane's not doing your show." The fourth time. How you like this so far?
Yeah.
Fourth time. Author Mike, we can't get any information for Author Mike. He contacts us 2 hours before the show. 2 hours. And says, oh yeah, Kane's on a plane. He's going to a convention. So obviously he can't do your show. I said, well, if he's going to a convention, when did you know that he was supposed to go to a convention and couldn't do our show? He goes, oh, well, I knew that 3 weeks ago.
Ridiculous.
So I had to get a favor from a friend of mine, Manouche, and have her on the show. Wonderful woman. I want to praise her amazingly because she had done a 3-hour concert. And she came in and did another 2 hours on our podcast. Manouche is a professional. She is number one.
Yeah, that's awesome because concerts are so draining.
Yeah. And anyway, so the thing is that I told Wayne and I told everybody, that's it. That's it with me. Kane Hodder is on the blacklist. I don't want to hear about having Kane Hodder on the show ever again. That's it. Because that is the most unprofessional bullshit I've ever had. I was furious. Well, anyways, the thing is that why Wayne decided that he I was wrong and all this, and and he didn't want to have to work with me anymore and all this, and he hated how controlling I was of the show, was because Kane Hodder was mentoring his kid on being a cosplayer of Jason Voorhees. He was doing a character called Little Jason. And so Wayne, because of that, he started not showing up for the show and his own show. So Mr. Highland, and then he gave us an ultimatum and said, oh, well, if you want me to continue with the show, you have to do this and this and this. He wanted us to do an entire 6 months of every month doing a season of The Walking Dead. Just talking about The Walking Dead on Horror Chat. We said fine, but he didn't show up. So Mr. Highland and I had to sit there and talk about The Walking Dead on this. Another thing that he said is, okay, for our season finale, we're going to play out your book Mother's Day. All of us playing the different characters. And I'm going, what? Sounds nuts.
Right?
So anyways, he got all angry and stuff and quit the show. Actually, what ended up happening is I got to the point where I'd had enough of the attitude because Wayne owed me a lot. The thing was that he's a musician. And I worked with him and helped him get back into writing music and stuff. Because we worked on a couple of music projects. I wrote a song called Nikki Tears Her World Apart. And then I also did a song called Little Red Final Girl. And Wayne, who had pretty much given up on his music, he went back into music. And it's like, Wayne, all of a sudden, when he got the attitude, oh no, you've been holding me back, you're this horrible control freak, and and that. And so after that, what ended up happening is that the wolf pack pretty much broke up. My associate Derek Young, the thing was that he had to leave anyways because he was having financial problems. On top of that, he had projects he wanted to do. He had gotten an opportunity to study and be a wrestler. And he wanted to do a convention for his hometown of Martinsville. So what ended up happening is he did Martinsville Horror Fest, and he invited me to be there. But the thing was that this was when I started having trouble with the cyber stalkers, and they went after Wayne. And they said that Wayne's son was a midget faggot.
What the hell is wrong with these
and
people?
Stuff. So Wayne came to me. He's he asked me, who did this? Who did this? And I said, I don't know. So I helped him try to find out who pulled this shit, because he wanted to confront this person, because they were, harassing him when he was advertising the fact that he and his son were going to be at this convention. So anyways, yeah, you're starting to get an idea of how bad the horror community has been.
It's insane. It's even like that in the paranormal world. They talk about paranormal unity, but there's so many backbiters and people causing drama and issues. It's insane. And people you thought were your friends will do the worst things to you, like, that you'd never expect.
And the thing is, at that time, I'd only did my stuff fighting against this group called the Horror Socials. That's what they called themselves. There were all these independent horror people who thought that they ran horror and that they could dictate who films got done and stuff. There was honestly, Tessa, there were a lot of filmmakers and a lot of films that would have changed horror. And these people got ran out of horror. And I knew some of these people, and I did a fight with these horror socials and exposed them. And Jessica Cameron and the Soskas were in with this group. And now the thing is, they're the only ones that are left. But the thing is that the minions of the horror socials, they are the cyber stalkers that are attacking me. They want to go, oh, well, we're going to ruin your reputation. So they do fake profiles and start fights with people. They do fake profiles of me. With my books, the thing is that I got a contract with an independent publisher called Linkville Press, and they published my two books, Psychotic State, the novel, and The Traveler. And I was just starting my book series, Symphony of Death. I had just put out the first book, Robert Diablo, and was finishing up the second book. I was going to release that in 6 months, time after Robert Diablo. The cyber stalkers tried to say that because I got the idea to do Robert Diablo, which is a reimagining of the movie Harvey. it's a short story that's a reimagining of Harvey, and the thing is that instead of having the giant rabbit, you have a demon from hell. And the eccentric character is actually in jail, and he is being accused of killing his security guard. He's the son of a billionaire. And so the thing is that the billionaire is dead, and he's the heir to the businesses and stuff. So his family is trying to save themselves by having him, have him prove that he's insane, so that they can put him in a mental home and take control of the businesses and stuff. Well, anyways, the thing is that I got the idea to do this because the Soskas, years before, had talked to me about their plans for their first few films. And they said, okay, this was when they were doing their first film, Dead Hooker in the Trunk. They said, okay, we're going to be doing this film called American Mary, and then after that, we're going to be doing a film called Bob. And Bob is a reimagining of Harvey, but with a demon. That's as far as they got. And they go, oh yeah, there's gonna be an eccentric person, just the same thing as the Harvey story and all that. They hadn't written a script or anything. It's just this verbal idea. And the thing is that after they did American Mary, they got a deal with WWE Films, and their next film was See No Evil 2. They had a three film deal. They only did 2 of the 3 films. But anyways, so I took this idea that they had basically thrown in the garbage, and I thought, okay, well, I'm not doing a movie. I'm just doing a short story. I can do that. I had all these other short stories, ideas that I'd had for a movie idea that I had, because I'd done an anthology several years before with a filmmaker named Sean Buffington and Greg Russell Titterington. And the thing is that originally we were going to do a short which was called The Darkest Secret. And Sean loved my story the script that I wrote. And so what he did is he expanded it into an anthology. You might be able to find it on Amazon. I don't know. I think Sean shut down everything on the horror seasons. But anyways, I had planned a script for, a bunch of treatments and stuff for a sequel, and Sean didn't want to do it, so I spent years running around trying to get the stories either done as films or comic books. And so I just decided, okay, I'm going to make this into an anthology. And I decided, you know what? That story sounds great. That sounds like something that I could start this out with. So I changed the title to Robert Diablo. I developed all the characters. All the characters are mine. The names, the attitudes, everything. Except that I do have a parody of the Soskas in there and Jessica Cameron. But yeah. Well, anyways, what ended up happening is these cyber stalkers went to my publisher and said, "Oh, well, William stole Robert Diablo from the Soskas." and we want you to pull all of his books. We want you to pull all of his books, or we're going to destroy your publishing house. And what ended up happening is they started harassing all the authors associated with Linkville Press, and just continuously threatened the head of Linkville Press, and put disgusting memes all over their Facebook page and stuff and everything. So what ended up happening is she bowed down, broke what was essentially 8 contracts with me, because we'd done all the contracts for all of the Symphony of Death films, plus we had ongoing contracts for The Traveler and Psychotic State, and she pulled all my books from print. Because these assholes...
That's crazy. I smell a lawsuit.
No. What ended up happening is I wasn't going to... my publisher promised me that she would get my books back up. I waited a year. She was playing games, though. And what ended up happening is I started going to other publishers, but I found out that the cyberstalkers had gone to them and threatened them too. So I couldn't find a publisher. So what I ended up doing is I said, okay, you know what? I know how Little Press did their books. So I'm just going to start my own label. So I started my own publishing house, WC Enterprises, and reprinted all of the books, and started continuing on with Symphony of Death. It took me 2.5 years to get my books back in publishing, and the cyberstalkers would constantly harass me, saying, your books will never get done. Your books will never get done. And we're going to take you out, William Pattison. We're going to destroy your life, and we're going to erase you. And they started posting videos of them burning Camp Crystal Lake novels. Now, these books at that time were out of print, and, there wasn't that many printed, because, it was a failed series, but the thing is, it got cult thing. So these assholes are burning my books and going, oh yeah, your book, we'll erase you and you'll never get your books back up. They were attacking me on Facebook, everywhere. They started a website called Devour My Footlong, and at one point, they had over 300 blogs against me, lying about me. They ruined a bunch of friendships of mine. They turned a whole bunch of authors against me. I kept going. I kept fighting all the way through.
Yeah, let your haters be your motivators.
And, I got this one book. It was called Crystal Lake Diaries. This was after I got in Crystal Lake Memory by Peter Brake. There was issues with that. Because in Peter Brake, I did a 3-hour interview with him. And first printing of Crystal Memories, he didn't even include my books in there. He didn't include books. I had been talking to Peter Brake, and he basically told me right up until the release of the book that I was in there. And I went, and, at the time I was in between jobs, and I spent $70 on this book just to find out that I wasn't in it. Well, anyways, that caused problems, and during the second printing, Peter Brake put me in my books in there. Just a small little 3 paragraphs and a picture. That was it, of the covers of my books. Well, anyways, these cyber stalkers, they actually got me thrown off Wikipedia. I had a
What the hell?
biography. Yeah, I had a biography on Wikipedia, and they got on there and they got my biography pulled, and for almost 2 years it said the Camp Crystal Lake's written by an author. Because and they petitioned to Wikipedia so that William Pattison, me, would never be in Wikipedia.
I just don't get it. And I don't want to interrupt because, I'm, edge of my seat listening to all of this, and I can't believe it. It's like, do these people actually have lives? Because it seems like they're spending all their time trying to sabotage you.
Oh, yeah, I know. And the thing is, it's weird the way that they are. Because the one guy who was a cyber stalker, his brother was the one who started Devour My Footlong. He hired this guy named Eric Hyde to work on his website, and he convinced Eric Hyde to friend me and stuff, and Eric Hyde tried to get me from inside, in my friends list on Facebook, because at that point I had made it where I safe for safety. Well, anyways, Eric Hyde started this shit, and then what happened is that the cyberstalkers, I found out that he was supporting the cyberstalkers behind my back, and so I blocked him, and he started a YouTube channel called Horror Socials Media. He started a blog where he's sitting there and he's wearing a cheap-ass Jason mask and talking shit and lying about me. He did 26 of these videos. What ended up happening is he ended up, at one point, he took the mask off and showed himself as Eric Hyde. And then he got involved with this other guy named Jay, who's a real, Jay is like the Joker. He wants to tear everything down. His entire YouTube channel and that is to tear people apart and to be just a complete and utter asshole.
Yeah.
So anyways, he started doing a series on me. And then he went on Anchor, which is, of course, you know about Anchor, right?
I don't think so.
It's this one that, it's like, Anchor actually connects into, satellite TV, satellite, radio, Sirius.
Yeah.
And that, Jay and Eric decided that they were going to do a new podcast, and their podcast was somewhat dedicated to libeling me. So they're on Sirius satellite radio libeling me. Eric's still doing Horror Socials Media. At one point, he goes after me because because I did a video about him. And what I said is, you know what, Eric? You don't care about your family, Eric. you really don't care about your family, or you wouldn't be doing this because you're libeling someone. You're going to end up in court, and I will string you up. And you know what? After you're stuck in jail for 10 years for cyber stalking, I'm going to go and I'm going to sue you. And I'm going to sue you for every flippin' cent you have. And your daughter is going to be homeless. How do you like that? Homeless because you are a narrow-minded, stupid asshole. And he started going after me, saying that I threatened his daughter. Well, the thing is that well before this, his buddies, the cyber stalkers, threatened to rape my niece.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, my niece works for a very high-end, it's a high-end company that does, rich people stereo systems and stuff. But they found out where she worked, and they said, "Oh yeah, one of these days we'll show up at her work and grab her after work and gang rape her."
Sick.
Yeah, well, they continuously sit there and threaten that that one of their guys is going to go and throw dog shit at my house. They actually sent me dog shit.
How nice of them. Well, on that note, we do have to go to our second break. Oh, man.
Okay.
That's crazy, William. I feel so bad for you and what you've gone through, but you're still going. You're still doing it. But on this break, we got Mr. Brick Casey with Main Thing. We got Nonye Toria again with Paper Levin and Yanga, as well as Monyaye. And we'll be right back after this break.
I like it when you pop it, drop it, swing. Nah, don't stop it, doing that thing. Go, girl, keep doing that thing. I just wanna make you my main thing. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that. Vanilla chocolate flavored, you're the only one that I'm searching for. You the one for me and I can't complain. You sunshine anytime it rain. Not around then I might go insane. I just wanna make you my main thing. I like it when you pop that, drop that. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that. Honey, you so sweet, I can't ignore. Thinking about you both more and more. Making it pop and drop and swing. I could be the canyon, you my queen. Yeah, you look good, but you I'm saying. I just wanna make you my main thing. I like it when you pop that, drop that. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that. Who's them dudes in the back with the black on? Crew deep, don't sleep or slack on. Come to the money, honey, I'ma get a stack on. Excuse me, ma, can I get my Mac on? To the left, throw it to the right. Do it like you wanna do it to me all night. From the block, kid know how to act hard. Like brick house, women with a fat backyard. In the club with me and my man's killing that. In the back door with me and my man chilling that. I'm on the floor, I'm like, damn, she killing that. It's going down, no cop around, feeling that. I'm fly, I'm a guy that'll get him. Player like me, need two of you with him. Call you a lollipop and I wanna lick you. Number one, my top choice of pick. Yo, give it to me, mom. Go, girl. Nah, don't stop. Oh, no, girl. Break it down for me, get it gone. Can you keep it going? On and on. Now give it to me, mom. Go, girl. Nah, don't stop. Oh, no, girl. Hey, break it down for me, get it gone. Cause you got it going on and on. Can't deny the that you too fly. Anytime that I look you in the eye, a phenomenon that I can't explain. Like the things you're doing to my brain. You the only one to take away my pain. I just wanna make you my main thing. I like it when you pop that, drop that. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that. Can't stop thinking about how you move and all the things that I'ma do to you. True, this might be a little bit strange. Don't care if I don't even know your name. That's why I wanna tell you this simple and plain. I just wanna make you my main thing. I like it when you pop that, drop that. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that. Who's them chicks all thick with the pumps on. Lumps in the front back with the bumps on. Not a cat hoping that he get his humps on. I'm way beyond what the mother chumps on. Sweet enough to eat and he might bite you. Wanna make love to you, I don't wanna fight you. Not a body like you, not a one like you. When you come around, no telling what he might do. Right now in the club, who the dawn? Don't a man that got it going on later on. I can tell by the dancing, you digging this song. You can tell I've been digging you all night long. And I love to be digging in you all night long. Party right here, hottie all night. Let's flex it to the coat check, exit to the Lexus, Nexus, triple exit. Come on, give it to me, ma. Go, go, girl. Nah, don't stop. Oh, no, girl. Break it down for me, hit it, get it gone. Can you keep it going? On and on and on. Now give it to me, ma. Go, go, girl. Nah, don't stop. Oh, no, girl. Hey, break it down for me, hit it, get it gone. Cause you got it going on and on and on. I like it when you pop it, drop it, swing. Nah, don't stop it, doing that thing. Go, go, girl, keep doing that thing. I just wanna make you my main thing. You pop it, drop it, swing. Nah, don't stop it, doing that thing. Go, go, girl, keep doing that thing. I just wanna make you my main thing.
Vanilla chocolate flavored, you're the only one that I'm searching for. You the one for me and I can't complain. You sunshine anytime it rain. Not around then I might go insane. I just wanna make you my main thing.
I like it when you pop that, drop that. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that.
Honey, you so sweet, I can't ignore. Thinking about you both more and more. Making it pop and drop and swing. I could be the king and you my queen. Yeah, they look good, but you I'm saying. I just wanna make you my main thing.
I like it when you pop that, drop that. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that.
Can't deny the way that you too fly. Anytime that I look you in the eye, a phenomenon that I can't explain. Like the things you're doing to my brain. You the only one to take away my pain. I just wanna make you my main thing.
I like it when you pop that, drop that. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that.
Can't stop thinking about how you move and all the things that I'ma do to you. True, this might be a little bit strange. Don't care if I don't even know your name. That's why I wanna tell you this simple and plain. I just wanna make you my main thing.
I like it when you pop that, drop that. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that.
She know, she know, she know. She know me treat her better than her man. But she a worry about the millions, the millions, the millions. You love me for true, but certain things in life I say I want to do. Hey, so you say me need to understand that you are made for a money man. But if you can't love me now, don't love me later. When my later is much greater, it only proves that you love the paper, my paper.
Boy, me gon' love you now, me gon' love you later. When your later is much greater. Cause me a one-man trafficator, yeah. Say I love him, but I love you more. He took me shopping sprees and bought me finer, but I crown it more. You're the one that gave me proper loving. He might have all the money, everything to satisfy me vanity, but in my heart I knew you were the only one that I would be loving from now till the end of time.
Don't love me later. When my later is much greater, it only proves that you love the paper, my paper.
Boy, me gon' love you now, me gon' love you later. When your later is much greater. Cause me a one-man trafficator, yeah.
Girl, I know you want stability, but that no mean say you fi sell your soul for vanity, no. Bright lights, fast cars at the city, and the fast lane make you lose your sanity. But me can't believe you sell yourself so short. Forget the money you will make, man, break your parts. But your life make your choice, because me now make you break my heart, no. If you can't love me now, don't love me later. When my later is much greater, it only proves that you love the paper, my paper.
Boy, me gon' love you now, me gon' love you later. When your later is much greater. Cause me a one-man trafficator, yeah.
If you can't love me now, don't love me later. When my later is much greater, it only proves that you love the paper, my paper.
Boy, me gon' love you now, me gon' love you later. When your later is much greater. Cause me a one-man trafficator, yeah.
I wanted to learn the hard way, so I'm taking you to lover school. You want money just for party, girl. You take me for fool.
Every piece of my heart I gave away. I gave it away to you. Why don't you understand, babe? What I feel for you is true. So
if you can't love me now, don't love me later. When my later is much greater, it only proves that you love the paper, my paper.
Boy, me gon' love you now, me gon' love you later. When your later is much greater. Cause me a woman trafficator, yeah. Now, trafficator. Show me your younger, show me your younger, eh. Show me your younger, eh. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
None, yeah.
I love music, Niger music, Niger, yeah. They go everywhere I am. I love music, Niger music, Niger, yeah. They go everywhere I am. Yeah. Show me your younger, show me your younger, yeah. Show me your younger, yeah. Show me your younger, show me your younger, show me your younger, yeah. Oh yeah, come, let's wind it down. Night the people dance to the sound. Show me your younger, let's hit the town. Let's thank Almighty God that it's Friday. The way you're shaking your waist, don't stop till you dance all day. With a groove, the Niger way. If you like to Atlanta, it's a good batter. Niger music is alive, eh? We got the hottest music out there. Yeah. You must start from today. We'll be hitting it from Monday to Sunday. Everybody get ready. It's time for us to get steady. Everywhere we go, Niger music now number one. Niger music, Niger, yeah. They go everywhere I am. I love music, Niger music, Niger, yeah. They go everywhere I am. Yeah. Show me your younger, show me your younger, yeah. Show me your younger, yeah. Show me your younger, show me your younger, show me your younger, yeah. Been around the world, seen a lot of faces, seen a lot of places, but nowhere like Niger. Yeah. You gotta stand up for what you believe. That's where you can achieve. Whether you tall or short, slim or fat, hey, now you're palaver. I beg, throw away your face. Like they let people come, throw away your face. It don't really matter cause we're all in the race. That's all we can be till we all meet the Niger. I love music, Niger music, Niger, yeah. They go everywhere I am. I love music, Niger music, Niger, yeah. They go everywhere I am. Yeah. Show me your younger, show me your younger, show me your younger, show me your younger, yeah. Show me your younger, show me your younger, show me your younger, yeah. Nonye Monjaye Orimi Monjaye Orimi Monjaye Orimi Monjaye Orimi Monjaye Orimi Monjaye Orimi. Some do good just for the doing. See everything just for the seeing. Don't even care what you're receiving. Through all the heights just for a lie. Wanna have me, just get ready. Now waiting, I sabi. I did tell you all my how life is. Now so show love with your heart and show love with your soul. Monjage orimbi, 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 monjage orimbi. Some people help just for the helping. Few people love just for true loving. Give everything just for the giving. Don't even care what you'll be receiving. I'll be fine, fine, fine lady. I don't wanna be your baby. All I wanna do is get crazy. Wanna have me, just get ready. Now waiting, I sabi. I did tell you all my how life is. Now so show love with your heart and show love with your soul. Monjage orimbi, 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 monjage orimbi. Swag beat, funky, yeah, yeah, yeah. Non, yeah, non, yeah, non, yeah.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for listening tonight to We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. Tonight we have Mr. William Pattison. I don't know why it's kind of like, for me, a tongue twister to say your last name, William Pattison. Pattison. Got it. I keep wanting to say Pattinson, but it's Pattison.
Yeah, no, I am not the glittery vampire author.
Right? Yeah, those are
Yeah.
so weird. When did that change occur? Must be some sort of genetic anomaly.
Yeah, I know. Now he's Batman.
Oh, shit.
Anyways, yeah. So, you know, yeah, we were talking about lovely lovely huggy bunny people, weren't we?
Yes, they're so cuddly and cute, and I wish I had one of my very own. Not.
Not. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, cyber stalking. Yeah, the thing is that the Eric Hyde and his buddies, he doesn't like it when I say that they're his buddies, but the thing is that they're all in the same group, so why not call them buddies if they're working together? But anyways,
Exactly.
Yeah, they made it so I had to walk away from the website Goodreads, which is a major place where you can bring people to your books. And the thing is that they started hitting my books on there. They give you a page, and people can write reviews of your books. They can read your books, and they can put up reviews and give you a star rating. So these guys would make fake profiles of famous people like Harlan Ellison. They'd do Felicia Day. They'd do my niece. They'd do my sister. They'd do a a friend of mine who died of cancer and sit there and do these, say horrible things, saying that I was molesting my niece, my 30-year-old niece, and saying that I was an animal abuser, that I was transsexual, that I wanted to have my dick cut off, that I was sleeping with black guys and all this. And, you know, I'm a heterosexual, people. I'm as heterosexual as you get. But they were doing that. Oh, on Facebook, they wonderfully put up a page called the transsexual author William Pattison. But anyways, getting back to, of course, you know, R.I.P. William Pattison. So supposedly I've been dead for 2 years.
I know, and that makes me really sad because I really, really loved William Pattison, and I can't believe he's gone.
Yes, I know. it just amazes me. And I still get little jackasses who sit there, "Oh, William Pattison, you're dead, aren't you?"
Oh my gosh.
It's like grow up, asshole. Anyways, yeah, so on Goodreads they'd sit there and do that, and they'd say that that Harlan Ellison molested me, you know, the famous horror writer Harlan Ellison, and said that my hero from Creature Features, John Stanley, molested me. And, you know, they go on using a fake Felicia Day thing, saying that I was sending her dick pictures and that I'm this horrible stalker person and that. Just all kinds of stuff.
Which totally goes against you as a person. Like, I've known you for years now. At least 3, I think. But yeah, like, I've never seen anything of the sort from you. Ever.
No, and the thing is, what gets me is a lot of these jackasses in the horror community, I've helped them. Which really bugs me, though. You know, some of the people who support these cyber stalkers are people that I helped them with scripts. I helped them with their films and stuff over the years. But they've turned on me, and they're supporting these jackasses because they think it's funny. They think, you know, harassing me, you know, because of what I did with the horror socials. But the thing is, that needed to be done. Those people were destroying the horror community. The horror community was falling apart. In 2013, it was a mess. Now, we're doing so much better, and people are not at war with each other as much. You know, I'm getting harassed. You know, I mean, shit, they hit me on, they used to hit me on Facebook until I set up my security to the point where all they can post are hashtags.
Yeah, and I noticed when I was posting this event, I try to tag you in it, and you're not taggable, and I totally understand why.
Yeah, I've actually put myself to maximum security on Facebook, which, you know, and then, you know, and they sit there, you know, I mean, all my pages, I have to do that. And they, you know, and so I get fewer, you know, like the William Pattison page on Facebook, I don't get a lot of likes because people can't post. I post like crazy on there, but, you know, people have trouble posting replies and stuff because I have it where I have to
be locked down like Fort Knox.
Yeah. And so my William Pattison page on, the page on Facebook only has like 80 likes on there. But anyways, yeah, so, and I have under 1,000 people on Facebook because I had to make another Facebook profile because the cyber stalkers would sit there and complain about any picture that I had up. There was this one time when Facebook blocked me for a month.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
For an iconic picture of me holding my hockey mask.
Seriously.
The cyber stalkers barraged that picture, and Facebook blocked me for a month, and it got to the point where I'd get off blocking and they'd hit me again, and it got to the point where Facebook was threatening to pull my profile. So I had to make another profile. I've actually got 3 profiles. I have backup profiles.
Yeah, because you never know what's going to go on. Like, if you're going to get blocked, put back in Facebook jail. Like, it's ridiculous. Yeah. I think the only reason that I got blocked is somebody must have complained about my pictures that I posted. Because otherwise, like, I don't see there's anything wrong with them.
Yeah. I also inherited a profile and a web. Friend of mine, Robert Masters, he was a retired, he owned a video store, and he decided that he wanted to interview horror people in that and do that for his retirement. He died, and he gave it over to the Wolf Pack. And so I've been running Horror Bob's blog. And
that's awesome.
And I've inherited Robert Masters' Facebook profile. So I keep it alive. I keep him somewhat alive because he loved horror, and his wife asked me to keep it alive. But the cyber stalkers say, oh no, Robert Masters never existed. Robert Masters is this, Robert Masters is that. And they tried to lie and say that the picture I have of Robert Masters is a fake one. It was a picture I pulled off the internet. Really, how are you going to find a single picture off of the entire internet? But it was a picture of Robert. He had been at a birthday party, so he was nicely dressed, and he was, topping his hat to people. And anyways, so I've been over, for last few years, been running his blog and stuff, doing movie reviews and stuff, and putting stuff on his Facebook profile. Stuff that he would have appreciated, movie reviews and, other stuff. But anyways, yeah, so the cyber stalkers got me to the point. Well, actually, it wasn't just the cyber stalkers. What ended up happening is that Goodreads got bought up by Amazon. And before Amazon took over, you could flag troll reviews. And they had this whole thing where you had to write out the reason why and stuff, and then say why you were saying that this violated their rules and that. But I would end up having to do this almost on a daily basis. And they went and they took that option away. You can no longer flag anything on Goodreads.
And that's what I noticed too about, like, on Facebook when I got blocked and everything. Generally, you can object to it and you can state your case and be like, yeah, this is not correct. Like, this has nothing to do with suicide or killing yourself or whatever. Why am I being flagged for this? They no longer give you that option.
No, they've knocked it down to nothing. On Facebook you used to be able to write out what was going on and why it is. Now
Nothing.
And so, yeah, on Goodreads they took away the options of doing this, so the cyber stalkers were nuts on there. So I canceled my profile and just walked away from Goodreads, and I put up a big post on all my websites, because I've got a bunch of websites. I'm all over the place, and saying that Goodreads, I couldn't trust Goodreads anymore, and Goodreads was supporting cyber stalking.
Do you do anything on Reddit?
No.
That might be a good new outlet for you as far as your stories and stuff. You could do like a little, portion of a part of a story or whatnot, and then they can click another link to purchase that book or whatever to read the rest of it, if you have books like online or on Audible or whatnot.
Yeah, all my books are available through Amazon. And yeah, it's crazy. And it's sad because my associate, Mr. Christopher Hyland, he needed help. He was with my old publisher, and she made him wait 4 years and still hadn't published his book. So I just told him, okay, well,
Holy
your
shnikes.
contract's coming up. Just drop her, and I'll publish it through WCP.
Mm-hmm.
This was a year after I republished all my stuff. So I published his 2 novels for him. But the thing is that because he's associated with me, the cyber stalkers are just, mangling his sales too. He's not getting the sales he should and stuff.
Yeah, it's sad.
I mean, with me, I'm not getting any real good sales because of the fact that they've blocked most of the stuff. I have to promote via Twitter and stuff. Just put stuff up on my own. I have no major way, and all these social media things have been narrowing where who can see your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where it's horrible. And so and the thing is that every time I do a podcast and stuff, the cyber stalkers, either before the podcast is done or after, they harass the podcasters and the podcast person and try to pull my interview. So be prepared for that. You're in for fun there, Tessa.
Whee!
Oh boy!
I can't wait!
Anyways, for people who are being cyber stalked, what I can tell you is it's near impossible to get any help from law enforcement at all. I've gone to law enforcement and they say, oh, well, it's not our venue. I live in California, and we have the toughest cyber stalking laws on the books. If you get convicted of cyber stalking in California, you get 10 years in prison. That's in the law.
Yeah,
and
but serious stuff.
And if it's involved with internet, you have your internet privileges permanently taken away. So you're treated like a hacker. It's kind of a mix of the way that hackers are treated and sexual predators.
Well, yeah, because a lot of times when people do this to people, if, they are not mature enough or they don't have a healthy mindset or whatnot, they will take their own lives due to this cyber stalking and harassment. It's insane. Yes. I can't believe these people are getting away with this. This is why my mind is blown. And you're saying cyber stalking laws out there in California are really hardcore, and the cops are like, oh, this is not our forte. Give me a fucking break. Maybe you should go to the newspaper or something, and maybe that'll fucking put them on their asses to where they have to do their job.
The newspaper won't do anything.
Jeez.
Newspapers won't do anything. I sent my evidence and stuff. I sent it to the media 28 days late. The 60 Minutes and all this. Mm-hmm. I sent him to all this stuff. I spent $2,000 printing up stuff and sending out packages.
Oh my gosh.
And nothing. I mean, I'm on a limited income because of what happened after my heart attack. I can't do a lot of regular work, so I have to I get very little income from stuff, and I have to make sure that I keep my medical. But anyways, yeah. And seriously, the local law enforcement told me, oh, well, you should get in touch with the FBI because they've got a cyber crimes unit.
You're like, I already did, and they sent me back to you.
Yeah. I went to the FBI, and they go, oh, well, cyber crimes is only about scams and hackers and stuff like that.
They're destroying your potential to make money.
Yeah. They're destroying my life. And I told them that. And I said, well, it's not our job. We're the federal government. And I keep reminding them that the last year that Barack Obama was in office, he said he was going to make cyber stalking a federal offense.
It should be.
And, because he'd seen all this nastiness, everything, all these kids dying. And here's another thing there, Tessa. Nobody gives a flying fuck about adults. If it's a cute kid, he gets on the media. But if it's an adult, oh, well, too bad.
There should be no difference. Stalking is stalking, and they're basically mentally and physically and financially abusing you. Like you said, they're destroying your life.
Oh, they're not just destroying my life, they're destroying my family's life.
And your friends who you're publishing as well. Give me a fucking break. When does the buck stop on this? I don't get it.
Well, on top of that, they're attacking my friends. They're attacking my friends, they're attacking my associates, they're attacking my other family members. I have a sister who lives in another part of California. I have two sisters that live in different parts of California. One of them has a severe heart condition, worse than me, I mean, she's got severe heart problems, and they were harassing her. They could have killed her.
You know what I just thought of? Okay, so before we went on this show, you were talking about these people in your alley, like blasting the music and then throwing M80s and stuff over your fence. Do you think maybe these bitches and assholes, like, actually hired them to do this, to assault you in another way?
I don't know. I do know that several years ago, I was walking home from work, and these one goes, "Hey, you're Eric Morris." And they went and hit me over the head with a 32-ouncer, beer bottle. The
what
big
the
beer
fuck?
bottle. Yeah, hit me over the head with it. And, yeah.
I'm sorry. You don't deserve that at all.
Yeah, I ended up, I couldn't see out of my right eye for 2 weeks. This is when I was working. And, yeah. Yeah, they've even said that they stress me to the point that I get a heart attack. They think it would be funny.
Yeah, and Moonlight in the chat room, he's like, Sweebus, like, he needs police protection. And I'm like, they won't fucking help him. They won't do their fucking jobs. I don't get it. What happened to serve and protect? What's going on here?
The way it is with what I've been doing, I do a lot of research on cyber stalking and stuff. The problem with local law enforcement is that they're like 12 years behind when it comes to internet and computers and stuff. They don't have anyone who knows how to use the computers. On top of that, they feel that they don't have to do something because these people who are harassing me are from different parts of the country.
Yeah, and that's when it becomes federal, The federal government should be taking care of this, the FBI.
And at least 2 of them live in England.
Jeez.
So, yeah. Yeah, they say, oh, well, too bad.
Too bad for you. I hope you make it through.
Oh, yeah, and I found out how they started this up because one of the people who joined, they had started up as a Facebook group, Haters of William Pattison. And the thing is, what these ones did is they got together a whole bunch of people who hated me and decided to organize. Well, this lady, this feminist one, I won't mention her name, but she was part of this group, and she was there for a month. And she goes, oh my God, she actually came to me. I was a little bit pissed off at her anyways, naughty Rebecca. We had supposedly, did the olive leaf thing and was fine with each other. She was a big person in regard to women in horror. And I'd had some issue with women in horror for a little while. But she went and joined this group, and she said that, oh yeah, they're trying to find ways to just destroy you, ruin your... Yeah, they literally have. They've sat there and gone through my county's records and tried to say that I was a schizophrenic.
Yeah, when have you medically been stated as a schizophrenic? I'm thinking never.
Never. They found a file for a William J. Pattison. And
That's
they
not
put
you.
it up for public view saying, oh yeah, this is proof he's this. And the thing is, there's also another William Pattison that lives near me who's 70 years old. And they put up his thing, William H. Pattison, who was accused of animal abuse.
Jeez.
And flashing. Not even the same initial or anything, but they're saying that this is me.
Yeah, they need to look at your stats and see your address. Like, you've lived there forever, right?
Yeah, I've lived there all my life.
Yeah, how can they fucking do this? I don't get it. That's obviously not you. That's another person.
Well, they know where I live. I mean, they've even posted satellite photos of my house.
Well, yeah, you said people were throwing dog shit at your house and stuff. Like, this is fucking ridiculous. And they're assaulting not just you, your animals, your family, with fireworks and dog shit against the house.
They never threw dog shit at the house. They
okay, I thought you said that
dog
earlier.
Shit to the house.
Okay, I see.
And they started a fire on our lawn.
What the fuck?
And when I was working at the county recorder's office, they came in and shot pictures of me at work, trying to terrorize me, saying, we know where you work. My business associate, Shane, said, oh, yeah, come over, say hi. Why don't you?
Good idea.
And, there was this one girl who was one of the founders of the Cyber Stalkers. Her name was Violet Van Dorn. Not her real name, though. She presented herself as a splatterpunk author. The fact is, she only wrote 2 1.5-page short stories, and they weren't even splatterpunk. But
well, speaking of writing, we are in our last 8 minutes of the show, and I know you wanted to do a little pre-reading on your newest book you're working on.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. Okay.
I know, it just flies by, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I'll do that to close us out. Okay, it's the newest prologue for Symphony of Death Part 5. And it's called Hunger and Pain, The Road to the Harvest. Hell is just that, hell. It is hell to the vast, uncountable masses of damned souls that are tortured in its pits and valleys, as well as the broken and used-up souls that are hung on the spider webs of chains suspended across its skies, which cause the never-ending blood rain that falls upon the land. It is also hell for the hordes of demons that were exiled from heaven and forced to exist there. But few beings ever consider this, and no demon would ever admit it. But it is true nonetheless, especially for the torture demons that man the torture pits of hell. For they spend their days toiling constantly, ripping and tearing regenerated flesh, muscle, and even bone from the damned souls. Torture demons only halt their labors for extremely short rest breaks to consume the agony-flooded flesh and blood of the tortured, or occasion to release their built-up sexual energy through acts of fornication, which could last for several days depending on the demons in question. Hell is doubly hell for its torture master of the torture pits, me. I am known as Glencoe Rexus Diablo, but you can call me Glenn for short. For you see, I condemned myself to spend the rest of my existence in constant pain from the festering wounds I received in the final battle of the war for heaven. In that battle, I, under my original angelic name, Gleniel, fought my brother, the Archangel Uriel. In that fight, Uriel took my left eye with the tip of his angel sword. He also hacked my right leg and sliced my left arm with its blade. Then Uriel shattered a section of my rib cage by grabbing a fellow angel's spear and ramming it through my chest cavity. It was agonizing and near fatal. I was only saved from the eternal blackness that all angels go to when they die, because my friend and brother in arms, Ramiel, and our sister Ames interceded and drove Uriel away. I came out of the battle, which was the final crushing loss for the forces of the Morning Star, alive, but brutally injured. The other supporting angels of Lucifer, as well as myself and Ramiel, were rounded up and locked away in heaven's prison. Father had the prison created to hold Gadriel, the angel who allowed Lucifer to enter the sacred garden to seduce Adam and Eve, Father's newest creations, to eat of the tree of knowledge and lose their innocence. The prison was, of course, expanded by Father to accommodate all the rebel angels who followed the Morning Star in his attempt to usurp Father and take over heaven. While waiting trial, Ramiel and Ames shared my cell. Ames, who was a healer as well as a soldier, managed to get my condition stabilized. My wounds had just started to close when I was pulled out of heaven's prison and brought before the Father and the archangels, Michael, Gabriel, and of course Uriel, who looked no worse for wear after their battle. The Father, who was sitting on his throne behind the three archangels, looked down at me with pity in his eyes. My child, look at the pitiful state of you, the pitiful state you find yourself in. Please spare yourself an eternity of pain and bow and do as I ordered you and your siblings. Pledge yourself to the service of my new creations. Do this and you can rejoin your brothers and sisters and heal your body in peace.
See, I think this
Father.
sounds awesome, and I hate to interrupt because we are in the last minute and 30 seconds, but I just want to thank you so much again for joining us, and just hearing what you've written so far. You don't sound like you're, as you said, retarded or you can't write. I think you have an incredible wealth of knowledge, and so far it sounds like a story that I'd keep reading.
Oh, yeah.
But I just want to thank you again so much for joining us tonight on Late Night in the Rockies. It's been a pleasure having you, and I really do feel so bad for you, all you've been going through, but hey, just keep persevering like we do. Just keep going against what they're doing, you know?
Oh, yeah. No problem.
And like he said earlier, you can find his books on Amazon. And I also want to thank our listeners and friends on We Are Paradox Media's Facebook, Spreaker, Twitter, Periscope, wherever else beyond the Omniverse you've been listening tonight. Next weekend, we got story time with me, TessaTNT. And then on Sunday, we got Jay coming on with Coffee and a Chat. Pretty excited to see what he's going to do with that. You guys don't forget, we are all in this together. Together we can make the world a little better. And together, my friends, we are Paradox Media, because without you, there is no us. If you want to join us for the Skype after party, look me up or give me a call, 970-335-9596. Nighty night, love and